That's another kind of resurrected hero, I want to say, in really just response to the Chen, just allowing him to axe off any of those creeps as soon as they get brought into those fights. But DogChamp are fragile. They are really thin right now. They are just kind of setting up the pins to be knocked down if four Zoomers just pick up more damage. And mostly I'm worried about just them immediately picking Mars right here because they could very easily just do that.
Yeah, still in the pool, and seems a little weird to go with such a potentially fragile lineup when there is a Tiny on the other side. I know in that position 1 role, maybe it doesn't roam about quite as much as the 2 or the 4 for that matter back in the day, but there is still that sort of burst potential, and it can be expanded upon here as, yeah, it's going to be the Mars pick for them. They'll keep it simple. Moo Mars is very much a reliable option, and now further burst damage with the Pugna pickup.
Yeah, and not just burst, it's that push that is really easy to set up now for four Zoomers. You've got some big beefy boys in front. In fact, Mars is literally blocking Pugna, poor Pugna behind the shield right there. But that's how the game is gonna go. It's true to life, just because as we get set up in this mid game, how DogChamp find an initiation, especially if this is going to be the Hoodwing 3, onto the Pugna is going to be absolutely critical. Not to mention, if they do want to dissuade this push, got to get a little bit more in terms of wave clear, because anytime they're going to try to approach and nuke out those waves, well, that's where you get jumped by the Mars and the Tiny, and then things aren't looking pretty. Not to mention, really expensive spells. I feel bad for whoever ends up playing the CM here, if it is going to be Nature Lover, just because, well, that Pugna Ward, it's going to hurt. A lot of your spells do cost quite a bit of mana, and I think that's where Gunnar, again, kind of a new hero in the patch, but they're really kind of adapting and getting up to speed here in 731.
Okay. DogChamp will come back in with the Phantom Lancer for Stonebank. So, well, if you were looking for a carry option to put him on where he was going to sort of feel maybe the most comfortable just by virtue of player-hero matchup, the PL, not a bad one. But it is still going to be a little bit questionable because as we've seen repeatedly, ET, that PL is not exactly an immediate contributor to fights. You need that time to build him up against a four Zoomers lineup that can afford to push the pace a little bit and start pushing into you that much earlier.
Yeah, and hey, free pick versus the Mars, right? He will definitely struggle to land a spear on Stonebank, and we saw in the one game where DogChamp picked PL again. If Stonebank can keep on dodging, if he can actually get spells used on him and then somehow barely survive, that's a lot of time and a lot of space that his teammates will definitely be able to play with. Not to mention, PL versus Pugna is pretty PL favored. Pugna really needs to start out the fight on top of him, and then, well, we see where everything lies. Only problem with the PL is not naturally a nullifier carrier. You do get that diffusal eventually, but you're not really going to be able to do anything effective versus the Decrep, so we'll have to see. In addition to that, I don't think the PL Agshard build is too annoying when it comes to Pugna actually pushing on your buildings, just because the Nether Blast does feel, well, pretty free. But at the same time, we'll have to see. I think for Zoomers, it could be a Pugna shifted up and down. They ban out the Leshrac, I think, out of fear of just the PL immediately getting countered out, but kind of rare. But we could see Z-Freak take the Pugna and then see everything kind of swap up a little bit for Zoomers here. I think most likely we are just going to see Gunnar take the Pugna and then Z-Freak picking up his hero here, but there's a shred of fear in DogChamp's eyes of just getting Gunnar, one of these great heroes versus PL.
Yeah, and maybe a little bit of that is just, we have a PL, we need to protect it. Maybe they're not 100% sure if the Pugna's being shifted, but they view that as maybe a bigger threat than just letting any other hero get banned out. So, understandable with those concerns as we see both sides going in for the final picks. It's the Underlord for four Zoomers, DogChamp with a last pick Timbersaw that is gonna be Rayla Lisa's hero. So two mid Timbersaws that we're gonna be seeing here today. And on the four Zoomers side, how exactly are they going to divvy this up? Because we know now what we had always known. It's Husky on the Chen, it's Moo on the Mars. The other three heroes have yet to actually be picked up, so maybe four Zoomers considering sort of switching things up a little bit here.
Yeah, and kind of ignoring the Timbersaw pick, I'm trying to figure out what position maybe originally this Pit Lord was going to go into, because the Timbersaw does change things up if this was going to be like Gunner, okay, sure, you take the pit ward mid. You know, you have an option versus the PL, just really fearing that matchup specifically. And
We're
Gunner
gonna
will
do
still
it.
pick up the pit ward. Okay, yeah, it's Z-Freak on the 4 Pugna, which is really just because of the PL pick. And, well, that is not a good lane for the pit ward. I wonder if they're going to swap up maybe laning-wise, try to dodge it out. But the problem at the same time is, well, hey, you've got a tiny carry. It's not like you can send him mid, so okay. I mean, I guess this is the problem when you pick 3 strength cores. Well, Timbersaw is always an option, but at the same time, Ray's going to need to work this matchup to really the maximum extent because I feel like he, yet again, is the most important member on his team. And even though he's not an initiator, he's going to be pretty much relying on Lukey to start these fights with the Bushwhack. Well, he's going to bring the damage.
Yeah, that is something that they will have that maybe wasn't quite as possible for Ray Lisa the last time around with the puck, because he had to worry too much about his own positioning and durability to really focus on dealing damage, whereas the Timber, the vast majority of the time, does not have that same concern. But as you mentioned, very interested to see who is mid, who deals with that Timber, because you basically have to draw straws and see whose lane is going to suck for the first 10 to 15 minutes.
No, it's a hard decision. I think that's where this Timbersaw does kind of come almost as a blind side for Zoomers, even though, again, the hero is really popular, I think, right now. I think it's going to continue to get even more popular. But that's also where, hey, DogChamp didn't ban Mars and then Mu got Mars. So they've got some own questionable bans in their draft to kind of answer for here. But at the same time, got a game of Dota on our hands. We'll have to see. At the very least, Gunner does get to a point eventually where, hey, the Firestorm does just straight up kill a creep wave. You aren't really able to put that same amount of pressure that Timbersaws usually are, where you just tank for your creeps, and then they're the ones that actually end up killing that mid-tier 1. So we'll have to see how they deal with that aggression. But as soon as Ray hits 6, we should just see him running down the lanes, going everywhere, because his damage is felt across the board. Any core he tries to gank, you're going to have that Whirling Death attribute taken away from them. I would love to see them really try and slow down Costabile this game because, well, unfortunately, in the PL versus Tiny matchup, Stonebank's going to at least need a Heart or a Scotty before he's really going to feel confident here, where Costabile, he himself is going to need, you know, items like the crit, like the Echo Saber. He's really going to need to build up. Otherwise, we could see him stall out specifically, but that's, again, we got a lot of questions this game to be answered.
Yeah, a lot of questions to work with, and during the draft, you know, when we saw what Husk and Hoodwink getting picked up first, I mentioned, you know, do they fully lean into doing something weird, or do they go maybe more conventional? It ends up being kind of a hybrid, right? Because on the one hand, there is a Crystal Maiden in a professional Dota match, which has not happened in a long time, and on the other hand, you have a Stonebank PL and a Timbersaw, so little column A, little column B, we'll see how it all sort of melds together, and maybe it's enough of a surprise factor for DogChamp to finally, you know, pull one over on one of the other squads in this field. They've been sort of the punching bag themselves in the cut throughout the entirety of this group stage so far.
Oh, and you'd really love to see it. I'd love to see them just get a nice game of Dota, and of course, that's where I think Lukey getting his comfort hero, you know, we should see him at the very least have some fun with it, you know? At the same time, I love Tusk. I love what he does to the map. He's one of those few traditional roaming fours that still feel like you can roam a little bit more than some of the others who are just kind of dead set in their lanes. At least we're pretty far out of the stacking meta. That was not fun. That was kind of boring whenever everybody was just stacking Ancients for 3 or 4 minutes and then they take over the mid lane whenever their mid's like done, because that was dominated for a little bit too long, I think.
Yeah, it was just, fortunately for everyone involved, a little too efficient. So changes were made. We are not in those sort of dark times anymore. Obviously, stacking still very much useful, but can't be your only job anymore as the support. So, yeah, to be honest, thank God for that. Yeah, that was, some of those games were boring. You knew nothing was going to happen for the first 10 to 12 minutes, but much more dynamic now, much more maybe aggressive out from some of these supports. Speaking of which, not sure what there is for them to do in this bottom lane for 4 Zoomers. As I say that, Moo does get the spear, so if he can free fire a spear and get a stun onto the Crystal Maiden, got the rebuke, Husky will eventually have maybe a point up in the penitence, and you have the potential to maybe punish that support. But onto Stonebank in particular, not really sure if it's going to work out. He's one doppelganger away from sort of breaking up that combo.
Yeah, and at the same time,
not, because he
well,
doesn't have it.
he's taking a lot of damage. Yeah, they know what spells he has. He actually just phantom rushed to the lane, and then he speared for a creep, and then he phantom rushed to the wave. I guess we're just gonna run him down. That's a kill that's really rough to give up here, and they also strike at the same moment that I think the frostbite was already used on Husky's ranged creep, but he went over to the small camp and then just got a new creep. So that's a tough kill. That's a bit of a freebie for Moon. I think now full soul ring coming out for him, so got a lot more mana to play with. That's tough.
Yeah, and that's the kind of minor... I'm not even really sure we should call that a mistake from Stonebank. It's just your opponents sort of catch these small details that put you in a vulnerable position. They do manage to pounce on it pretty heavily, but now... Well, now what else can they really do here? Nature Lover is going to maybe be a little bit more on alert this time, so that's the moment for the Chen to just sort of shove off from the lane a little bit, get that Bounty Rune steal once again, and don't really think there's a play to be made rotating mid, but Nature Lover, I just said you were going to be more careful. Please don't make me a liar. Dropping low, Moo's going to chase, needs one more right click, hasn't gotten it yet, but here comes Husky in on the other side. They will be able to find the kill. Moo, though, may go down. He is taking some damage from that frostbite, but I don't know if Stonebank can really take this fight. He's going to have to pop the stick, trying to go in for another Spirit Lance. Moo, though, really just holding his ground. Hey, you know, Bulwark, it's kind of an afterthought spell a lot of the times, but that damage reduction, it's the only thing that kept Moo alive.
Yeah, reactively skilled, and honestly, less close. He did have the salve to work with either, but because of the greed, I mean, hey, he gets the salve after the fact. He just gets the full reset and more gold kind of going his way there. And at first, I thought maybe a slight misplay from Husky because he had got rid of the poison creep that was tracking the original CM kill, but that's where he immediately jumped on the fact that he got this purge creep, and well, we felt it right there. Just immediately slowed him down and then just made it almost impossible to fight.
So, this bottom lane has gone about as well as I think 4Zoomers would have been hoping for. You've got 3 kills in Moo's hands in less than 5 minutes. He's got the full soul ring. He's got the full wand coming out. His item progression is going to look quite nice, which I mean, is unbelievably important, right? We always talk about the Mars. You want him to be that guy who can rotate, can make use of the arena early on to just try and get you that little bit of extra momentum. And Moo in particular, extremely skilled on that Mars, so I don't really want to give him much of anything. In Stonebank, you just got to stay in the middle of the lane. Can't afford to get hit by the spear. The rebuke is going to hurt, but as long as the stun doesn't connect, he should always be able to walk away.
Yeah, the only unfortunate thing is, well, with the wave so far up and with Husky constantly playing in your small camp, you can't really get the equilibrium back on your side. Nature Lover also just has to constantly be really careful here because one step forward and you just kind of die here. At the same time, Husky's also just giving all of this XP over to Moo. Moo's almost going to be level 6 here, and then, well, everything kind of breaks open. You're probably just going to get your free instant kill onto the CM, and then you just start to snowball even further off that. Not to mention Stonebank, he's trying to get these last hits, but he is really just so hard zoned out of these waves, and it's really impossible. Oh boy.
Okay. Doppelganger will help, but there's that purge creep being obnoxious. That gets Moo the position he wants. There's the spear stun. Did he?
He thought he was being tricky, but they knew. They just knew instantly. Well, that's very unfortunate because, again, with how far forward the wave is, and Nature Lover just rotated out to try and be obnoxious, and he does steal the regen rune from Gunner. Nothing's really coming up them, and well, there's the penitence. He's gonna try for the TP, but does he get it? Oh,
sliver of HP there, as he will make it away, but the problem is that the wrong hero kind of survives there, right? I mean, Stonebank is the one who sort of gets into trouble, whereas your Crystal Maiden, who rotated out of the lane, manages to TP home. So at least you don't give up a second kill, but now you're sitting on an 0-3 Phantom Lancer who has fewer last hits than any other core in the game, and Husky's even coming over just to make sure he can't even take this camp.
Yeah, being forced to jungle at level 4, it's not a pretty sight, but that's also why nobody lets Husky play this hero for a very, very good reason. He's just been way too good with his rotations, and I think the call now is just to completely forfeit bottom. Nature Lover's gone already. He's going to start playing, I think, in the top lane, just doing what they can with the few levels that they do have. And they're going to go for a dive here onto Z-Freak. Problem is, every tag team has responded to it with the decrep, and Moo's actually the one to come. And oh no.
It's the arena.
Oh, barely.
They didn't get Luki, though. And they might not even get Ekin. That's a very nice snowball to get him out of the arena. The problem is, yeah, Spear's still coming. Moo hits him in the back, gets the kill. Luki's got to be kind of careful here. Z-Freak got him with the decrep. Kasabla's coming over. He doesn't have spells, though. He's got to wait a moment or two longer. Nature Lover's able to hit him up with the Frostbite, and they really going to keep chasing this. Yes, they are. Kasabla's coming in this time. Yeah, he is not going to be denied. Avalanche comes out. Luki will die, still holding the toss in case they need it to chase the CM, but they won't. Tiny's going to be able to get the kill. Everybody's going to gate their way back to where they came from, and four Zoomers, 7-0 on the board here in the first 8 minutes. They are looking to just really take control of this one. We said they needed points, ET, but they are showing a real sense of urgency here going up against a team where they're heavily favored.
Yeah, and really, what a nifty play from Gunnar. TP back to base, out of mana and HP, then Fiend Gates out. But yeah, Husky taking a lot of damage from Ray, but does he have enough here?
It needs maybe one more hit. What?
Got it.
Okay. Got a little bit dicey. He does lose his courier for it, but he'll get the kill, and he should be able to make his way out of here. Especially, yeah, with Ekin coming over to help him out. So, DogChamp, they take that 0 down off the board, much needed, but now they're in trouble. Ray Lalisa is going to get hit up. That spear not going to connect, but there's still really no mana on the Timbersaw. He needs to wait for the Soul Ring, but if he does so, he's going to sort of sacrifice a lot of the health he needs to get away, but now he's going to run into Moo anyway. Moo doesn't want to use the spear there.
Yeah, he knows that if he messes up, you can actually Timber Chain out of the arena, so unless he hit him with the spear kind of mid-chain, then it's just a waste of it, and I think instead they want to put pressure on this bottom tower, especially with the cart up in a minute. So, as long as they displace the Timbersaw, he's the one who's defending bottom, because Stonebank, he's had to take kind of the scraps everywhere else. At the very least, he's jungling with level 6, and Diffusal Blade is that little bit cheaper, but still, it's a really horrible start for the PL.
It's not going fantastically for him, and as you said, for four Zoomers, you've had control of this bottom lane for so long. Just take the tower. Just get it, get the map control, get the gold, and move along to other targets at this point. It was nice going looking for some of those further kills, right? 7-1, still very advantageous, but now you need to really start applying that pressure. Push that lead into, you know, the realm of a nice start into just absolute dominance.
Yeah, I also think at the same time, DogChamp need to kind of call here. And Gunnar, okay, he's taking a whole bunch of damage, and I think he's actually might just be dead. One more spell.
Maybe able to finish him off. Hand of God, though, coming through. Gunnar still not dead. There's the spear stun. Ray Lalisa gets locked down, and both he and Ekin will fall under the tier 1. Husky, there's a reason they don't want you to play this hero. It's just too good. Comes in with the clutch heal, and now Luki actually may be caught. Starlight comes in. There's going to be the avalanche into the toss. That spear's a little off the mark, however, but they're going to try to continue chasing. Acorn shot slowing them down a bit. Crystal Maiden comes in for the slow as well with the Nova. It's at least going to be enough to keep the Hoodwink safe and sound, but that's a big missed opportunity mid.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate because Luki was on his way. They were smoked coming in to try and help for the kill on the Gunner, and hey, look at that. Speaking of Gunner, Beans gate his entire team back to base. They all get the refill, they all get the reset, then they come back out. It's also on the mini-map. It's kind of funny to see that new icon in Dota. That's very strange. I feel like it should have a timer or something. It only has the bar, but you know, maybe next patch. But this is Blink Dagger. They have no idea about this. This is as fast as you could possibly get it, and oh, this is the setup.
Oh, Stonebank. Not where you want to be. He's going to get caught out. Doppelganger is actually even on cooldown, so there's nowhere for him to go. There's nothing for him to do. He's just going to have to run, and he's not going to make it. Ooh, nifty play there, but yeah, that doesn't matter. Just one last right click in to finish him off, but Ray Lalisa, he wants some revenge. He's going to Timber Chain his way in, but Spear pins him to the trees. Z-Freak is going to get hit up by a snowball here on the western half of the fight. Maybe they can try to make something happen. No, they can't. Arena from Moo coming out defensively. Doesn't have a spear right now, but he's just trying to keep these heroes at arm's length. But so many more heroes are actually coming in.
Oh,
They brought
no.
Nature Lover to the fight as well, but the problem is no one followed the Timber. They're too far back, ET. And now without Ray Lisa, who cares about your numbers? You don't have any damage.
Yeah, and it'd be easier kills if Gunnar had his Atos. It's flying out right now, but even getting in that fight on Ray, you didn't have any stacks. You only have 2 points in the reactive armor. You're all in on this damage, and oh, Ekin, he should get speared, and yep, Mu takes it. Easy kill for him, but it just all the exchanges are going 4-0's way. They're even more dominant than they were in the first game, and at the same time, Costa Bela gets bottom tier 2 for free. It's everything is just coming of them. They're gonna take the bot outpost as well, and I'm just trying to figure out how DogChamp can change around. What can they do? How can they play here? But at the end of the day, it feels like a lot of their heroes just are incapable of making some of these plays. They need to smoke up with Luki. They need to dive on the same target with Ray because they've got the damage. Their control is iffy, but oh, Nature Love. He's the real one who's, I think, the most lost from this game. Level 4, 13 minutes into the game. No love for the CM.
While that was happening, you had a nice attempt from Ray Lisa there in the south side jungle. He had caught out a Tiny who was low on HP, but instead Tiny able to TP out before the damage can be applied, and now since they know that Ray Lisa isn't here, they push for even more. They got the first kill onto the CM. They want Luki as well. They get him. They're looking for the snowballing Ekin, who really can only delay the inevitable with that play as Z-Freak gets the double. They'll turn their attention back now to the tier 1 mid, and I don't really know at this point. You mentioned that, you know, they need to try and smoke up. They need to try and coordinate with Ray Lisa. They need space for Stonebank, but we know all the things that they need. Not sure how they get them. Stonebank TP's out. Very nicely done. Wait.
That's funny. Yeah, they're back. They look for the kill, and then as soon as they're like, oh, we're not getting it. Well, at the very least, it's kind of fun seeing Gunnar just use his ulti off cooldown. Last time we saw this pit ward, we're still struggling to find out in what circumstances to use it, but hey, they're breaking.
Their smoke popped and they kept going. This is not great for them. This is the problem they had last time. Ray Lisa's going to push forward. The teammates, though, need to be up here with him. Ekin, though, good play, forcing out the Hand of God. Z-Freak still dropping, but so is Nature Lover. They're going to find that kill. Now they get the spear stun onto Ray Lisa. Z-Freak just really trying to go all in with the life drain. Wasn't enough to save him, but his teammates are starting to clean up. They get the other support, and yeah, this just feels like desperation, ET. 3 heroes smoked. They get popped near the ramp. You gotta know that they're up there, and they really just decide we have to try it anyway.
Yeah, and it's also just for Zoomers just responding, I think, a little bit too well. They don't even manage to get a ward up on the high ground before it's already de-warded by Husky. Everything is preemptive. It feels like they're just playing a little bit too fast compared to their opponents. And looking at Husky as well with his 6 skeletons, it's really funny seeing the bar fill up with the rally. That's even more skeletons. We're running out of space on the map. Gotta be careful with Nature Lover, though. He's the creep killer still, even though he's still only level 4.
Look at this. They're blocking each other. This is just the weirdest little parade of skeletons, but
look at Stonebank. All of his everything just got cleaned. He's dead. Mu doesn't even need to be there. And the rest of the lineup, they're cutting in deeper. They're looking for, I don't know who they're looking for, actually, trying to farm, because they need Ray. They need someone to kill these strength heroes, and if Mu just walks in, okay, this could be the pick, but
he throws the arena down, but yeah, that's not going to do a whole lot. They get Nature Lover, I guess, but they want more, and here comes Gunnar in on the back. The lockdown Luki with the Atos, keeping him rooted in place. Gunnar gets the kill, and now Ray Lisa, yeah, he's just got to try and TP himself out, but there's an avalanche from the Tiny. Sabale gets himself the kill, and we have the illustrious stat line right now, kill-wise, ET.
I know, and well, Stonebank, he's trying to run, but look, yep, there's the Fiend's Gate, and now you gotta get out of here.
They're marching their way forward, and Stonebank can't get away. Locked down, Gunnar, just so many roots coming into play, and well, the 3-2-2 scoreline's gone now, but that's not exactly the way DogChamp were hoping to break that one up, and now this is just Gunnar and Husky, really, for the time being, pushing their way forward, but they don't need more than that at the moment. Z-Free can certainly come in to help, but his presence isn't necessarily needed. DogChamp just really don't seem to have any answers for anything that 4Zoomers are doing.
Nope, it's a continuous struggle. I mean, Stonebank is killing a solo Chen, and well, Ekin, nice dodge. Actually missed the spear because of it, but I think he's gonna die to the magic damage from Z-Freak, even the toss. Moo gets to blink out. Okay, at least Costabile's courier had died underneath the tier 2, but uh, it's unfortunate just because I don't think we've seen a 5-man rotation from DogChamp. It's been 2-man smokes, it's been 3-man smokes, when I really think it's crucial for everyone to be involved, but we're just kind of boiling down the game to DogChamp getting picked off in an effort to give Stonebank farm, but Stonebank's 0-6. He hasn't had the most stable game. He's had a rocky path, and okay, finding a kill into Gunner would be huge, and they're going to throw everything they've got at him. And let's see.
Drain, though. Gunner being kept up a little bit. He's actually out of range of it now, but it's still doing damage to the rest of the lineup as Nature Lover. Yeah, he tried. Goes for the ult, doesn't really get it for very long. He will fall. Ray Lisa dead as well. Stonebank, he wants the kill on Gunner, but he's not going to get it. Denied. Boy. What is there really left to do if you're DogChamp? I mean, Lukey's alive, but maybe a sharpshooter snipe, but at this point, the heroes who were low really no longer are. Z-Freak just topped his teammate off, and Four Zoomers are back on the offensive, looking for the tier 2 mid, getting it pretty easily, and at this point it feels like DogChamp are just kind of throwing themselves, you know, face first into these fights just for the sake of it.
Yeah, and we'll see. Four Zoomers still need to translate this lead into like Roche, but it is 1,000 net worth per minute right now. They really haven't skipped a beat, nor have they given space over towards their opponents. Got another Fiend's Gate up as well, so anyone who tries to make a break out on the waves could be at risk extremely quickly. But as I say that, they're going to go into the pit. Custabile, I believe, is one component away from his BKB. Actually, Courier's dead, so is still true, but I don't think DogChamp are either privy to or are going to be able to stop this Roche attempt at all. And I think that's where the name of the game is going to be defending the high ground. Now, will they be able to? Most likely for at least a little bit, and they're making a play on the Moo,
That's
which
where
is big,
Moo
but the Fiend's
TP'd
Gate...
He TP'd to the outpost in the Southside Jungle before it got flipped, so he's here, the Fiend's Gate comes in, and they're just going to get blown up. Ray Lisa, it's a nice bit of damage coming in with the chakram, but now he needs to run away. Moo. Ooh, Moo's getting hit up pretty hard there himself, but now the Atos comes in from Gunner. They're going to lock the Timbersaw down. Toss should be there for the easy kill. And they just are finding kills at will at this point. Gunner just throws the Fiend's Gate out there, and they're in instantly. DogChamp can't react in time, can't get heroes away in time. Stonebank at least is one of the heroes to escape from that, but I don't know. Net worth-wise, where's he sitting? He's got 6,300. That's about half what the Tiny's got on the other side, so I mean, it's brutal.
Yeah, and it's also where, even if you go for, let's say, the Ag Shard build on the PL, how much do you have to use before Four Zoomers are sort of able to do whatever they want? And Moo, that's a crazy jump, but the pick right there, Ekin's hero is just crippled by the Pit of Malice, and, well, there's buyback from Ray. He needs to do everything here, but firstly, he needs to get stacks, otherwise he could just get blown up. Well...
okay. Not a whole lot he could do there, and now Four Zoomers will push their way into the base. I don't know. DogChamp just don't really have even a theory, right? Let alone an actual full-blown plan. It's just run in and see what happens, but what happens is this. Moo's going to make the initiation happen once again. Does miss the spear, but Z-Freak will start healing him up with the life drain, and this is just going to be another absolute slaughter. Nature Lover and Ekin both dead. Lukey actually kills himself to that ward, and DogChamp, there it is. Okay, the torment for them is over. 37-3 is your final kill count, a 21-minute game, and Four Zoomers. 3 points, basically. I mean, that's going to be harsh, but that's what happened.
Yeah, and honestly, 3-37. Oof, that's a Thunder Awakened performance right there. I honestly think the only shame in this draft is I wonder what a Four Zoomers versus Infamous match would look like with what they now understand about the patch. I think that Four Zoomers maybe got caught off guard in their series before when they were trying, they tried the techies, they tried the pit ward, they were messing with things, they tried the Pugna, but it just didn't end up looking all too good. But this is where I think full stride, they just kind of take whatever they want. And again, in the draft, a little bit of questionable choices maybe from both sides, but at the end of the day, I think Forza Zoomers just simply outplay their opponents. They definitely seem like the monsters they all appear to be. I mean, 3 of the 37, you look at all of their stat lines, and nobody looks bad here. Everybody just looks like they were an all-star in this game, and rightfully so. Only one who's a little bit of a slouch is Costa Bile, but he's doing his job. He's farming, he's on the other side of the map. Didn't get to play as much as nearly the other heroes in this game were, because Forza Zoomers just kind of wipe the floor with their opponents here.
Yeah, and like you said, maybe that's what the playoff bracket will give us, but you would like to see that sort of rematch now that Forza Zoomers appear to be getting the hang of things a little bit more with this new patch. Firing on all cylinders. This is what happens if you have that sort of trifecta, right? Forza Zoomers were already the favorites coming in. You outdraft your opponent, you outperform them, out-execute them. That is how we get to a 37-3 kill count. So, like I said, kind of free points for Forza Zoomers, but these are the kinds of matchups you have to win these. You have to 2-0 this pretty definitively because most, if not all of the other teams that Forza Zoomers are now fighting for position with did something similar. So, can't afford to leave points on the board. Forza Zoomers most certainly do not.
Yeah, and that's also where, if I think I'm reading this correctly, now they're 8-4, so that puts them, I think, just barely behind Wildcard, if not a little bit ahead, because they have played less series. I think they might just be exactly on par with that team, but it's where battling up, having 8 wins compared to some of the teams that are sitting at 7 or below, it could be the difference maker with how some of these next matches are played, because some teams are definitely out and out at this stage of the game, and they could be looking to take other teams down with them.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. For teams that are sort of seeing that upper bracket ship sailing away, you can at least play spoiler still. That's always sort of the fun thing, and you can hang your hat on that. We may not have made it, but we made sure you didn't make it either. But DogChamp, unfortunately, were not able to sort of fill that role in this one. They go down 0-2, but it is a bit of what we expected at the end of the... So that concludes our third series now of the evening. We are going to be moving on to the fourth and final one. I believe it is back over to the South American side. You said you wanted to see Infamous against Forza Zoomers, obviously, but we at least get to see them play in some capacity as they face off against Thunder Awaken. So a best of 2 series that honestly could determine which of these two sort of finishes above the other in the standings. So we move on to maybe some slightly higher stakes stuff, a matchup where both teams are kind of looking to take advantage, as opposed to this one where DogChamp really didn't have as much to play for.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see.
Yeah, that one should be coming our way in just a little bit. So all South American series for the nightcap will be stepping away for a couple of minutes. We'll be back with Game 1 of Thunder Awaken versus Infamous in just a little bit.